Today in the Nerdy Gritty, what responsibility do streamers have to their audience?
One more world disappears inside it. Just another hopeless addict. World that makes a man insane. If the drums don't get you, the guitars will.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Nerdy Gritty, where we delve deep into the details of pop culture. I am your live streamer, Fox. I got nothing original for that.
I'm Dez.
Oh, cool.
That's how people introduce themselves on streams, so it's just fine.
I mean, we do live stream sometimes, so I guess we are literally live streamers.
Hey, you know how we have kind of like mini segments like the Nerdy Griffy or what's your movie one?
Oh, yeah.
Game movies, video
Pro
game
gamer
movies?
movies.
Yeah, pro gamer movies. Well, I'm introducing a new segment here,
Ooh.
and this is Video Game Wall Street.
Video Game Wall Street. Gamers never sleep.
Gamers never sleep. Because
the weebs of Wall Street.
If you get, that's actually a really
that's a Twitter joke I saw from somebody. It wasn't me.
It's pretty accurate.
The
like,
Wolf of
kind
Wall
of the way
Street,
this works.
Yeah. Can't take
because
credit.
if you guys haven't heard about this, there's some crazy stuff going on with the stock
It doesn't
market.
matter if you play video games,
Right.
or this is a global shaking thing. Like this is
insane.
This is AOC and Ted Cruz agreeing on something level of insanity.
Yes.
Like it's a crazy story.
Yep, and but at the center, very core center of this is GameStop.
Yes.
And it involves GameStop and Reddit and a little bit of Discord. But because
Sure.
of this, it has become pretty prominent in the gaming world to know about this. So, if you guys haven't heard about this, GameStop stock has skyrocketed.
This is what it took for them to not continue their spiral into the toilet.
It was at, I literally think, like 75 cents.
It was
like
minuscule.
that.
Yes.
But last I checked, I believe it was just over $350 a share.
It has hit all-time highs repeatedly.
Yes. All-time highs. Like this
For the stock. This is what has not just like, oh, good or better than usual. It's better than it literally has ever been.
Man, when I worked there was not an option for employees to like managers
give you
to get
stock
stock.
options, yeah.
Man, I would have been so good. I would have been real happy about that right now.
Yeah.
Anyway, but this is all because of something called short selling. It's really bonkers. It's insane the way
It's
this works.
Morally questionable.
And the way that this works is people are really confused about. So we're spending our intro here. We're trying to explain,
I want you to explain this to me.
Yeah. We're explaining as simple as possible how this works. Now, do you understand it, or do you really need me to explain it to you?
I understand it mostly.
Okay. So
I'd say I'm at like a 95% comprehension.
Yeah. So there's the action of what's called short selling. Here's the way this works. It's something called short selling, and that's when investment firms, what they can do is they can pay a really small amount to somebody who owns a stock and quote unquote borrow it from them.
Yes.
It's wild.
It's ridiculous. It's made up money stuff.
It's made up money stuff. So let's go with cookies. Let's say Fox has 10 cookies.
I do.
And I go to him and I say, hey man, can I borrow that cookie for like 5 cookies for $1?
Why do you want to borrow cookies?
I don't know. It's really weird. But currently cookies are valued at $10 each.
Ooh.
They're really nice cookies. They're top-notch cookies,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, they're really, really good. So I borrow them you for $1. I take those 10 cookies, but I know, or at least I am very confident, that the value of cookies is about to drop. Not to mention, other people know that I know my stuff about cookies.
Mm-hmm.
Dez knows a lot about cookies.
Yep.
And so if they see Dez selling cookies, they're going to want to sell their cookies.
Yep.
And therefore the price of cookies will drop because
Yes.
everybody's trying to sell cookies. So I buy cookies from Fox for $1 each, and but they're worth $10, and I sell 5 cookies. So I have sold $50 of cookies, bought them for, or borrowed them for you for $1 each, but I owe you those cookies back now. So I am at the $45 that I have right now.
Right, yes.
Right. But I still need to give you those back.
Yes, please. I'm hungry.
So now I wait until the price of those
5 more
cookies drop down.
Right.
Because I've
Because
started
everybody's
that.
selling them now. and
Everybody's
it's starting
selling
to drop.
them. That starts to drop. I wait till cookies are $1 each.
$1 each.
I buy 5 cookies back.
Yes.
I give them to you.
And now you've made
I've
$40
made $40.
in profit.
I've literally just exploited people for $40.
800% increase.
Yes.
In how much? Yeah.
But it's not affected you at all. Actually, it's harmfully affected you because
Well, yeah.
your cookies have lost value. I've literally just exploited everybody around me and gained money off of it.
Now, if this is sounding familiar, it should. This is what happened in the 2008-2009 financial crisis.
Yes.
If you've seen the movie The Big Short, that movie is about the guys who foresaw this happening and made billions of dollars, and it's morally reprehensible.
It's not great. It's really not great. But it's incredibly common. Investment firms do stuff like this all the time.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Well, it's incredibly common, sure.
Yes. So here's where GameStop comes into this.
Yes.
There have been a couple of huge investment firms that have been seeing GameStop stock dropping, and they were at a place where, like, you know what? I think we're going to short sell GameStop. I think that's what we're going to do. Enter some dude. I can't remember his name. Enter some dude he owns Chewy.com. That's what I know about him.
Yeah. And
He owns
sent them a
Chewy.com.
letter. Yeah.
And he is known to be a pretty savvy businessman. He sees GameStop stock dropping, but he also sees them closing stores, like losing overhead.
Right.
But their digital sales are going up quite a bit, and therefore they are gaining sales but losing overhead costs.
Right.
And so some good things are happening there. And he thinks, you know what? I'm going to buy 10% stock, 10% like ownership
yeah.
of GameStop, and then he adds another 3% on that later. And that brings the stock up a little bit. Enter Reddit.
Enter Reddit. Bum, bum, bum.
There is a Reddit thread that is for like
Wall Street Bets.
Yeah,
It's
Wall Street
r//
Bets.
Wall Street Bets.
It's literally like a bunch of dudes like to get together and essentially gamble with stocks. It's day traders.
Yes.
But casual day traders.
Yeah,
that just
it's
like
internet day traders. Yeah.
Yeah, and they just like to do that for funsies. They all get together and they say, you know what? We don't think GameStop is going to go down in value. We think that GameStop is going to slowly go up in value, but people are short selling it. So here's what we're going to do. They want to buy all of the GameStop stock. They want to buy all of it, as much as humanly possible, and then just hold it.
Hold the line.
Just keep it. And two things will happen. With all the GameStop, so it's being short sold. People are trying to sell it. Well, everybody's buying it.
Yeah.
Everybody is happily, absolutely buying it right now. And that is actually increasing its value.
Right.
But then they just hold on to it. And the investment firms know that they have to buy it back. And the knowledge that that value is there is also slowly raising the price of this thing. And so we're at a place right now where people are holding GameStop. So people are holding cookies that I owe to Fox.
Right.
And they are not going to sell them back to me.
Not able to get them back.
And because I can't get them back, I owe Fox money.
Right. Because you have basically insurance on that. It's ridiculous and it's
crazy.
infuriating.
So to go back to the cookie analogy, it's as if I sold Fox's borrowed cookies, expecting them to go down to $1, but then I go back and I say, okay, can I buy them back for $1 now? And they say, no, you can't. Oh, by the way, the price hasn't gone down to $1. It's gone up to $10.
Yeah.
Now it's $15.
Yeah.
Now it's $50. Now it's $300, Des. You need to buy them 5 cookies back, kid. And I am set up to lose billions.
You had $40 and now you're out $1,500.
Yes. So,
now, I'm going to jump right into news real quick because I have
Okay.
one that's very related.
Okay, go ahead.
It's in this same, basically the same methodology has been applied to AMC theaters.
Yeah, AMC theaters.
And because of it, AMC theaters has been rescued from $600 million in debt. This is what AMC, the largest theater chain in the world, is basically being rescued from actual bankruptcy. I think they actually have already declared bankruptcy, but
Right.
they are being pretty bailed out by Reddit.
It's
and I
insane
just
to me because
can't imagine anybody saw that coming.
the actual actions of AMC or GameStop have very little to do with
Right.
this.
No, they're basically bystanders in this. It's what
Yes.
happens when you are a publicly traded company, is that you don't get to control who buys and sells your stock.
On a very different note, hey, you know who Vicarious Vision is?
Yeah, they are a game develop. They remade Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
We remade Tony Hawk 1 and 2.
They remake games, right? Aren't they like a remake?
Well, they
developer?
just didn't just do remake. They're the one who made the new Crash Bandicoot.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Crash Bandicoot 4.
Yeah.
Really, really good. So you know, of course, what they have to do, right?
No.
Be bought by Blizzard and become a support studio.
What?
I got a Destructoid article here. Vicarious Visions will now be a Blizzard support studio. So
Are they still going to be Vicarious, or are they going to be like Blizzard North or something like that, where Blizzard is a freaking gelatinous cube.
So
Blizzard just eats up other tiny things and
slowly
just
grows.
amalgamates. It's the movie The Blob is the Blobzard.
So there are two like overarching ideas on what could happen. There's the hope and the fear. The hope is that this is just going to be, hey, you were doing a lot of Activision
a
stuff,
Microsoft Studios kind of thing,
and we're bringing you over here. Now, why don't you make some old Blizzard stuff? Like, hey, can you remake the original Warcraft?
Ooh, interesting.
Can you do that? You know, Vicarious Visions.
Yeah.
You've done a great job with these things. Let's see what you can do with that.
That'd be cool.
That would be super cool.
Or if they just were their new bankroll, like Microsoft Studios bought Ninja Theory and said, "Hey, just do your thing. Here's some money.
Right.
You make good games."
The fear is that they're going to become a literal support studio.
Yeah.
And they'll get tossed like,
you
hey,
make
can you
some
make
art
DLC
assets for the next, for Diablo,
Overwatch,
Immortal
yeah,
or something.
whatever, man. Anyway, Fox, what have you been up to, my friend?
Watched a couple movies and played one game.
All right.
Gave it a try. But I'll start with movies. My wife, she was in class last week, and they watched she's in law school, and they watched a clip that had something to do with evidence or whatever, and it was a clip from Thelma and Louise.
Oh, yeah,
and she was like, "We should watch this." And I said, "Sure, I've never seen it." And so we watched Thelma and Louise last Friday night, and it was a delightful and also heavier movie than I expected.
It's got it won Academy Awards.
It won a best adapted screenplay, I think, or best original screen, one of those. Like, it was surprisingly, I expected fun crime spree, but with best friends, and that's what it was.
Yeah,
but it also hit on a lot more stuff about like women being believed after being raped, and like just these things that it's like, I mean, I knew that it wasn't a new issue, but it's just been something that's come up forever. And like, it's sad that it still comes up and is just a commonly accepted thing that people don't believe victims.
I watched a couple of movies. I watched Charming, which is a new Netflix original. It's a kids movie about Prince Charming and how he is the prince who saves Snow White and Cinderella and Sleeping Beauty. Mm-hmm. And what it really is he is cursed that any woman who sees him falls in love with him.
Ooh.
And he is now engaged to marry 3 women.
Oh, I know how that feels.
And so he has to like choose which one he's going to marry, but he ends up falling in love with some commoner or whatever.
Of course.
Et cetera, which it was really cliche. It was fine, I guess. There are plenty of other better kids movies for you to watch on Disney Plus. But it was fun. The music was good. Avril Lavigne and a couple of other vocalists were the 3 princesses, and they just had a lot of songs together, and that was a lot of fun.
Okay.
Like they didn't do any real vocal work other than singing, but it was fun.
Gotcha.
They did a good job, and it was fun to have them there. The classic one that I cannot believe I haven't seen was School of Rock, starring Jack Black.
School of Rock?
Never seen it before.
It's a delight.
It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Holy crap! I had no idea. To me, I'm not a big fan of Jack Black. To me, he's Adam Sandler, but a little bit later.
He's got a thing that he does in every movie,
right?
Which is who he is.
He's Shallow Hell to me.
Okay, I see.
That's Jack Black to me. But this was like a adult child, a child man, but in a cool way, like a real nice guy who loves
less
kids.
obnoxious.
Right, absolutely. I felt like I very much felt Jack Black in this movie. He was playing a character, of course, but also he was just a guy having fun with some kids,
right?
And he was really good at it, and it was wonderful. But also, you could feel his passion for music and for rock and roll in this role, like Jack Black's passion
very
came
clearly
through.
Like, if he wasn't in mind from the very beginning to be the guy,
right,
to be Ned Schneebly,
yes,
the fake Ned Schneebly,
Ned Schneebly, yeah,
then I'd be surprised. The other movie I watched that I'll talk about, I've watched a lot. I always watch. I've got a million movies in the chamber, but the other one I'll talk about is Alien Covenant, the most recent Alien movie.
So no more Nightmare on Elm Street for you?
No, I'm in the middle of finishing those off.
Got it.
But yeah, Alien Covenant. It's the most recent one. It's still a prequel to Alien, the original. Just like what's the one before Prometheus was?
Yeah, this was a sequel to Prometheus, right?
Kind of. I mean, it very much is a sequel in part of it. Like, the problem with it is that they clearly, a lot of people complained with Prometheus that it wasn't very Alien-esque.
Right.
It was like mostly science, like sci-fi.
Yeah.
There's some horror to it, but mostly like sci-fi exploration kind of movie.
Yeah.
With a very vague, like, connection to Alien, where it's like these you've never seen these.
No, I've seen all of them.
Have you?
Yeah.
I've seen Prometheus. People complain about that it wasn't. They wanted more alien murder. More.
And that's dumb.
And so with the sequel, it was clearly like, let's correct ourselves back.
Oh. I started watching Harley Quinn, the cartoon, the animated TV show.
The one that's for adults.
Yes, on HBO Max. Let me tell you, yeah, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
I've only seen trailers, and I know it is.
No nudity, but Scorsese-type language and Scorsese-esque language.
Sure.
And gore galore, man.
Galore.
Yeah, galore. That's probably... No, gore galore. We're going to stick with that. But here's what I will say.
I loved her in Wonder Woman.
Gore galore. She's great Wonder Woman. Oh, man. It's good, actually.
Okay.
I'm enjoying it. Like, at first, I was watching it while painting. I started painting minis again.
Yeah.
And I started watching the first few episodes just because I had something to do, and something in the background that I didn't.
Can't ever only do one thing.
I really can't. I have ADD. Yeah.
When I got here, you were watching cooking videos and learning Spanish.
Relearning, yeah.
Relearning, and you had both the audio going at the same time, and it was maddening. Your brain is a mess.
It is.
Last thing for me is, so you know how everybody has like a genre or two of video games where it's like they want to be good at it, but they just really haven't found the game that, like, they just haven't gotten to that place where it's just like, this isn't for me. I like it, the concept, but I'm not great at it. Or it's like that thing where it's like, I really want to like that, but for some reason, every time I try, it just doesn't click, but I keep trying.
Yeah.
For me, one of those things is like Soulsborne, where it's like, I love the concept of it, but I've just never been good at it. And another one of them is like isometric, like top-down RPGs, like your classic D&D RPGs and stuff. So I keep trying, and I started this week Pathfinder, Kingmaker.
All right.
Which is a couple of years old now, but it was free on the Epic Game Store. And I was like, hey, it's always been one of those games where it's like, if it got super cheap, I might try it out. Then it was free, which is pretty cheap. So I try it out. So I've played like an hour or two, and I mean, I always knew this was the concept, but it's just striking me how much this is essentially D&D but video game. Like every little aspect of D&D where there's a lot of like narration, and there's some like dialogue, but a lot of it's like there's a narrator telling you what you see and what happened, even though it's visually in front of you, which I kind of like because it helps me to imagine what the characters are doing a little bit, as well as just like all the invisible dice rolls that are happening. And so it's fun. I don't know how much I'll stick with it.
I have pretty much the maximum health you can have.
Right.
And this guy can still one-shot me.
That's so frustrating.
Yeah, it is.
Getting angry thinking about it. Let's move on. You know what? Let's leave this behind. Get down to the nerdy freaking gritty.
Okay, that sounds good. Hey, anyway, while we're here, if you're listening to this, it means you're listening to an edited version of the Nerdy Gritty. What we release just to the general public, not the secret files that we have.
Right.
This is the commoner's version of the Nitty Gritty, which is fine.
The Nerdy Gritty.
The Nerdy Gritty. Which is fine if you're just, whatever.
You're fine with being a casual.
Yeah, if you're a casual listener. But if you want to get good, you can head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/DesandFox, and become one of our patrons. At the second tier or higher, where you get access to the director's cut of the Nerdy Gritty, which is an unedited version with 20, sometimes 40 minutes of more content of us just talking about things we've been up to, movies we've watched, TV shows, games we've been playing, things like that. If you just like supporting us, that's the place to do it. We really appreciate that. If that's not something you're able to do, though, we totally understand. We do want to encourage you to please share this with your friends. Go tell people. Go scream it to the world. Literally, just go outside and scream, hey, everybody should listen to the Nerdy Gritty podcast. It's very good.
Yeah.
And then when people are like, stop it, at least that'll be in their head.
Yeah.
It'll be there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no such thing as bad press.
Right. That's right. So please tell your friends. We don't pay for advertising, so word of mouth is so important. The Nerdy Gritty, you guys are cool. Let's get down to that thing, to the Nerdy Gritty thing.
Good ending.
Thanks.
Recently in the New York Times, there was a pretty big interview with Tyler Blevins, also known as Ninja, one of the biggest streamers of all time.
Yeah, formerly the biggest streamer
Formerly
ever.
the biggest on Twitch. Then he famously went over to Mixer.
Right.
And then Mixer exploded in a flaming trash pile. And he came back to Twitch.
Right.
And this article, this profile, this interview that was in the New York Times was pretty interesting. It brought up a few different topics. Some talked about a few decisions Ninja has made in the past, and it talked a lot about his philosophy toward how he views his relationship with his audience. Mm-hmm. And that's really what we want to talk about today. We talked about Ninja a lot. There's a good chance you know who Ninja is. We don't really go read this profile of him if you want to know more about him. What we want to talk about and use this profile as a springboard is kind of what a streamer's relationship or responsibility toward their audience should be.
Yeah.
Or can be. What should a streamer be doing in relationship with the people watching them on a regular basis? Because he has given some pretty hot takes, and there's been a lot of pushback from the community. A lot of people on Twitter are putting him on blast just for how he views what his role is.
Right.
So that's what we're going to talk about. So we're not really going to go through everything that they talked about here. We don't really want to say, like, you know, what his view. Well, we'll kind of probably indirectly say, yeah, we agree or disagree. But
Well, again, as a springboard,
Yeah,
we'll
it's a
reference this
springboard.
to kind of help the conversation.
One of the biggest headlines from this, though, was that let me see specifically where. Nope, not that. Here it is. He went on to explore themes. This is an article from NME.com. I don't know what that stands for, but it's NME.com.
A New Mexico education.
Or maybe it's enemy.com.
Oh, that
sounds like a cool
like
a
gamer
cool abbreviation.
elite. Yeah.
Anyway, this is not the actual article, kind of a summary reflection of it. Let's see. He went on to explore themes of parenting, claiming that if you want to know who your kid is, you should listen to him when he's playing video games when he thinks you're not.
Yeah.
How does a white kid know he has white privilege? This is his direct words, his actual words. How does a white kid know he has white privilege if his parents never teach him or doesn't talk about racism? If they're gaming and their first interaction with racism is one of their friends saying the N-word and they have no idea what it is. This is the big thing here. He said that it's essentially not his job to teach kids about racism and white privilege. And that had a lot of people like, ooh, isn't it though? And so let's start off with that. He says it's not his job. Do you agree with that or
It's a really unique situation and something that I can identify with as somebody who was
I was
youth
actually
pastor
really interested
for a
to
long
get
time.
you are a youth pastor and also a parent to children who are very much into gaming and potentially into streaming or YouTube.
Oh yeah, my daughter watches YouTube a lot.
But
We
like,
don't
I
have
would
any
be
streamers yet,
surprised
but-
if one or all of them didn't actually stream at some point in their future.
Oh, my daughter plans on it.
Yeah,
my
sure.
oldest 100%
That makes
plans
sense
on
to
it.
me, yeah.
And so, it come from the youth pastor standpoint of being somebody who is upfront that a bunch of teenagers see and is a person of note to these teenagers.
They are invested in you to some extent.
To some extent.
And take your opinion as to be important.
So here's what I'll say. It is not his job and it should not be my job or anybody's job to be a child's parent other
Okay.
than the parents. It's kind of the Charles Barkley in the 90s. There was a Nike commercial. You know who Charles Barkley is?
I know who Charles Barkley
He's
is.
a basketball player in the 90s.
Well, yes.
And he was a very angry basketball player, and
Oh.
people would be like, "Oh, you're so angry, kids are watching you, you know that." Well, he came out with a commercial for Nike in the 90s that was, he just says, "I am not a role model. I do not paid to be a role model. I'm paid to be a basketball player. Parents should be role models."
Okay.
Nike logo comes up, and that's it.
Wow.
And
Buy our shoes.
and the whole thing is just him being like, stop blaming me for your kids getting angry on the
Sure,
basketball court.
sure.
And in the same way, stop blaming Ninja for not teaching kids about racism and whatnot.
For your kid not knowing what white privilege is.
I have been blamed quite a bit for kids disobeying their parents or for, doing things that are quote unquote out of character. And I have to tell parents, like, I did not teach them that. I say on stage, don't do those things. They're at youth group once a week.
2 hours a week.
Yeah, and I don't say they're at home every day and they learn from you. I don't say that, but I
Yes,
very
yes.
much in the same way, we have to understand that yes, these teens, young adults, these people may idolize and see this streamer and want to be like them, but there has to be somebody teaching them fundamentals as well. And fundamentals don't come from a streamer. They come from home. That is true. But
Huge old but.
like it or not, Charles Barkley, you are a role model.
Yeah.
Like it or not, Dez, you were a role model.
100%. Yeah, you can't say you're not a role model. That's not your choice.
Yeah.
You are one if you have a stage.
Yes. If people model their role on you,
Yes.
you are a role model.
Yeah, I think the disconnect there is that the term role model generally has maybe a positive connotation. That person's a role model. I mean, generally you would say a good role model, but you never say, I don't know, a murderer is a role model because you don't want them to be. Doesn't mean that they aren't,
There are copycats out there that do stuff. Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think that's the thing is that you don't get to choose whether or not you are a role model. I think what you're getting at is that it might not be his job, but it might be his responsibility. It might be his even opportunity.
Opportunity, I think I would lean more toward because, and especially Ninja's in a unique position here because you know who nobody is asking this question about? No, nobody is saying, "Are you a role model, Dr. Disrespect? Are you somebody my children are?"
The issue is he said this, so they're reacting to what he says.
But even I think if Dr. Disrespect had said like, "I'm not a role model," or like, I don't have to teach people things or whatever, they'd be like, "Yeah, because you're Dr. Disrespect."
Yeah,
You
your
don't give
name
a
is
crap."
literally Dr. Disrespect.
But because Ninja has been in a place where he has tried to be a pretty chill, like, I'm not going to say family accessible. He's been a pretty accessible streamer for a really long time.
Yeah, at a certain point, he intentionally stopped using language that people find offensive in his streams.
Yeah. And because of that, people expect more of him. And I think that's where this is really going to fall is what people expect of you. And then in my opinion, it's got to be the choice of the streamer. The choice of the streamer of who are you going to live up to? If you're going to stop and say, "This is who I am," and if you don't like that, you don't have to watch my stream.
Sure.
And that's it. I am not going to try and teach your kids to be anybody or anything. I am me, and I'm going to live that truth, and you can't tell me not to. You have every right to say that. That is a 100% valid thing
100%.
to say.
Yeah, at the end of the day, parents who don't like it or Twitter, people on Twitter who don't like it, they can say, "We don't like it." And that's really all they can do. They can't, unless he's actively harming people or encouraging others to harm each other.
Right.
They can't say, "Twitch, get rid of this guy because we don't like his attitude toward X, Y, and Z."
Right.
So, I think what it would be great if he, and the problem is we don't know exactly what he thinks about all this.
Right.
And we're not really trying to say here's Ninja and here's why he's great or bad. I think what would be great streamers, I think, see the opportunity they have. Any kind of person with a platform, I think, should be using that platform in a positive light.
I agree.
to the extent, whatever extent that is, it's up to you. I mean, it feels as though there is a middle ground between actively, whenever somebody uses the N-word in his, in his chat, he could stop what he's doing and sit there and give a 10-minute lecture, like some people think he's supposed to do, or or he could laugh and do nothing.
Right.
Those are the extremes. What if he has moderators in his chat. What if that's just an auto ban thing? Like at the he doesn't have to comment on anything.
Right.
He just puts it in his rules. These are the words. This is the language that will get you booted from my stream. This is the added. I trust my moderators. What they say goes. And through that, he is taking a stand, even though he might not be saying giving a 20-minute lecture on white privilege in the middle of a Fortnite stream.
And I think that's what people expect from him and from a lot of streamers these days, particularly people who are not parents, which is something that
Sure.
it frustrates me when people who are not parents try to give parenting advice.
Yeah, here's how parents should be reacting
Yeah,
to this.
absolutely. But I think that so many people are out there staring at people who are not parents are staring at people with influence and saying, you need to be better, instead of just trying to find ways to encourage people around them on how to create better households, or hey, single mom who's a friend of mine, how can I help you have a better household?
Sure.
There is so much that you can do locally and more close to home than yelling at a streamer. But I really do think there are people out there that expect a streamer to stop and say, hey, we don't use that kind of language here. Here's why. It's bad to be a racist. And then the more to come across the screen,
I mean, that is controversial to some people, but
yeah, gosh, it is, sadly, yes. But really, I think that we should expect streamers to be human beings. And I think we should expect human beings to be better. And that's it. To expect more of streamers is almost unfair, I think.
Maybe. It is an active choice, and this popularity is a pursuit of theirs. Like, I would say that by definition, if you are actively streaming, then you are pursuing an audience. If you just like playing video games, you don't get on Twitch. You play video games.
Yeah.
If you are streaming your video game, you are actively pursuing an audience, which means you are bringing upon yourself a certain expectation or a certain opportunity / and possibly responsibility, if that's how you see it, but at least an opportunity. And I think there is, to me, it is fair to say you chose to do this, and you shirking that opportunity is demonstrating that you do not care about these things. It's almost like just by not acting, you are also doing evil. Like if you are not helping people, then you are maybe not actively hurting, but not doing something to stop.
Yeah, but we don't do that with bands. We don't look at, Eminem and say, your music sure is angry,
Actually,
sir.
plenty of people look at Eminem and say his music
I guess that's
is
true,
angry.
but
There's a whole song about it called Dear Slim.
yes, that's very true, from KJ5 too. But my point being that the average person does not expect every single famous person, every single person of note, to be teaching children. I understand that being a streamer is unique because we talked about this a little bit beforehand. There's a passive and an active interaction that you can have with fans.
Yeah.
And so, yes, with musicians, with actors, with people like that, it is a passive interaction where they put out a movie and then people watch that movie, but there is no back and forth there. So, yes, I understand that's different.
That makes sense.
But still, there is expectations that we have on streamers, or at least that people have on Ninja, that we don't put on others.
That's a fair point. There are certain bands that if I went and saw a Rage Against the Machine show and Zach De La Rocha didn't launch into a 20-minute, F the police anti-capitalism rant, I'd be like, this is just their music is good, but what that's what I'm here for. Like that's his whole deal. That's their thing.
That's who you are.
If I go to a Journey show I'm not expecting them to launch into a 20-minute, F the police anti-cap. I'm expecting to hear Love and Touch and Squeeze and like hear some great songs from a great band. That's a Journey song, right? Oh,
Great
man.
songs from a great Love and Touch and Squeezing.
Love
I don't
and
know.
Touch and
Should have just gone with Don't Stop Believing. That's the one that
too hot.
everybody
I gotta
knows.
demonstrate my knowledge of it is.
You can't say I just want to demonstrate my knowledge. Let me Google.
I was
real quick.
worried, but I was right. So shut up.
Fox
anyway,
edits this, so he's gonna cut that out, and nobody's ever gonna hear this.
yeah, if I go to a Journey show, I'm expecting to hear some Journey songs, and I'm not expecting to hear an anti-political rant.
Right.
And so that because I guess so it makes sense. I guess if there's a expectation of it's just so interesting because at a Journey show or a Rage Against the Machine show, they are not interacting with the audience beyond the level of how y'all doing tonight. Like they're not like
Toronto.
Toronto. They're not. All right, now listen. They're not like having a conversation with them. Like, what are your thoughts on the N-word, sir, in the front row? Like, that's not what's happening. It's still pretty like disconnected there.
You bring that up, and now I may step back a little bit on what I said before, because if somebody in the front line is shouting, hey, get these N-words back.
That's a fair point.
We're trying to stay up front, and somebody on stage clearly hears that and does nothing about it or supports it.
Yeah.
That'd
be a problem
in and of itself.
It'd be a real problem if you can clearly see that this person knew what was going on and said, I'm going to play 11 Touch and Squeezing now.
Right.
Sorry, we're not dunking on Journey on action, on purpose.
No, we're using them because they're fantastic, actually.
Sure.
But because their vocal melodies are a dream to your ears.
Right, of course.
But for somebody to not look down and be like, what's your problem, man? Get away from my stage if that's the kind of attitude you're going to have. I guess I can see that. I guess, you know what? I think maybe streamers should be in a reactive stance and should have positive reactive stances. I don't think it's Ninja's responsibility to teach anybody anything other than how to be good at Fortnite. But you know what? Ninja should say, don't be a racist.
If somebody's throwing the N-word around in his chat, he should probably just boot them.
Right.
And that should be, like it costs them nothing to say don't be a racist when somebody's being a racist.
Here's the problem, though, is they expect Ninja to meet standards that aren't even like just common standards. Like, for example, he has a stance that he doesn't game with women.
Yes, this is another thing I wanted to bring up.
He has a stance to game with women. He doesn't game with women because he's married. He's happily married, and he hates the rumor mill.
He hates the rumor mill that is that happened when he would stream. They would take anything out of context.
Right. So let's say he games with the girl, and then he games with her twice in 1 week.
Whoa!
And
are they married?
They laugh and giggle a few times about whatever
while they're having
things
fun playing a video game.
They have good chemistry while they're playing video games, and all of a sudden everyone's like, "Ooh, Ninja," and this. Ooh, I wonder how his wife feels about that. Ooh, Again. I had a couple of situations where I was an intern at a church, and there were 3 girls that I had ended up just with a really good relationship with. I never met with any one of them individually. It was never anything weird or anything like that. But when I showed up, they would want to come talk to me, and I would talk to them, and we would spend like time together amongst the group of people. And I had a couple leaders walk up to me and be like, "Hey, how does your wife feel about this?" And I told my wife, and she's like, I think that's amazing that you're influencing young teenagers. That's great, whatever. But the bottom line being is Ninja made this choice of the rumor mill and not wanting to deal with it.
That was a reactionary choice.
Reactionary choice, absolutely.
Yeah.
But people get on his case for that. And this is where I'm like, no, this should be his choice. He has a good reason for it. He has an honorable reason. He's not saying he doesn't like women or women am bad. He's saying he hates rumors and respects his wife. And so he doesn't want to feed the rumor mill.
Yeah.
This is the type of stuff that I get frustrated with, that it's not Ninja's responsibility to have to A, explain himself every single time, or B, live up to other people's standards. That is not a streamer's responsibility.
Yeah, I don't blame him. Like I'm almost just surprised that he continues to do these interviews.
Yeah,
where it's just like people are going to get angry at whatever he says. If he or somebody's going to make a problem out of whatever he says or does. If he continues to stream with women who are not his wife, they're going to bring up make rumors. They're going to take clips of his show out of context. All this stuff. It's going to be annoying. It's going to be vicious. And if he says, well, then here's what has been happening, here's my reaction, here's what I'm doing, then he's a sexist. There are actual tweets in this in this article that I'm reading. Not his job to actively teach your kids about racism, but totally okay to passively teach them to be sexist. No, like
Yeah,
it's
that's
just
not what he's doing.
It is almost like a political nature now, where it's a zero-sum game. There is not really a middle ground. You're either the best or terrible.
Yeah. In my opinion, that's cancel culture at work. Just
Sure.
how people will
In
get
some
this mob
ways,
mentality
yes.
and just want to say that if you're not doing exactly what I think you should be doing, then you are
Then
an
you're
evil
done.
person.
Then you're bad and done.
Yes. And it's frustrating to see. It really is.
Sure.
Part of the reason why I pretty much don't interact with Twitter at all anymore. But at the end of the day, I think a streamer is responsible to, I guess, responsible to their persona, for one, would be the important thing is, again, nobody's saying Dr. Disrespect, how do you do these things? Because that's his persona.
He has a persona. That,
If you want to go on and you want to create a persona as the racist, sexist person, sure, that can be your persona. Twitch is going to ban you. You're not going to
Sure.
have any viewers. Everybody's going to hate you.
Well, you might have some, but you'll get paid.
Right, yeah, but you know what? That can be your persona if you want to. You do not have a responsibility to be not that. You shouldn't be. Don't be that.
You don't have you. See, I want to push back though,
Okay.
because I feel like you. I guess it's two levels. There's nothing compelling you, like in Twitch or in the community, that says you have to act a certain way. But I do think you do have a moral responsibility to pursue whatever you believe to be the correct way to interact.
Here's the trouble with that. You and I very much believe in moral absolutes.
Sure,
That
100.
there is-
I mean, we're just gonna get a moral absolutism
Yes.
here. And
Where you and I agree, yes, there is an absolute moral standard that is not created by humans that we should all be living up to,
Yes.
and the world would be a better place if we did that. We agree upon that, but not everybody believes that.
Sure.
And therefore, there is no moral standard.
Yeah.
If you don't hold that opinion, there is no moral standard, and you can do that and live up to your morals. There are some people who would say that it is moral to be a racist because that race, they are
This
inherently
is how we were
immoral
created
and
to
bad.
be,
Yeah.
Subservient or
Yes.
yeah.
And it's stupid and ridiculous
It
and
doesn't
wrong.
make any
Yeah, and
sense,
they're
but-
awful. But at the end of the day, moral without an absolute.
Without a standard, yeah.
Yeah, and so they shouldn't. Don't do that. But to say that inherently you have a responsibility when you begin streaming, I think is folly. I think that is expecting too much, and people will continue to let you down. You will continue to go
Okay,
on to watch
that's
a
fair.
stream, and people will continue to let you down, and you'll end up hating everybody rather than saying, you know what? I expect people to be people, and you know what? Ninja's pretty cool. He chooses not to curse. He chooses to respect his wife.
If that's what you decide is cool, sure.
Well, again, like that. I'm saying this is a
yes,
person
yes.
who's thinking this. Yeah, he chooses not to curse. He chooses to respect his wife in this way. He chooses to do all these things to be really accessible, and that's great. And I expect him to be ninja.
I'll revise it and say you have a opportunity to
Yes.
do something more than just play video games for an audience.
Yeah, and in fact, the more I talk about this, I talked about myself as a youth pastor for such a long time and how I did have that responsibility. But that's because people release their children to me expecting moral teachings. From
Yeah,
me.
that was more of a. I mean, again, that was a parent kind of thing where,
Right.
We get into the problems with the modern church where it's child care / moral, like teach my kid not to have sex before
Right.
they're married,
and not
time.
truly
And don't-
teach them
and
what
don't-
the
and don't
gospel
get
is
drunk.
and things like that.
Yeah.
But this is not church. This is not online church.
Yeah, it is a very different place.
This is come watch video games.
Right.
And if we expect a moral standard of our video gamers, we're going to be disappointed, guys. I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Sounds
Set
yeah.
your own standard and watch streamers who live up to that standard.
So it's almost a vote with your you're watching.
It's almost as if you and I almost always tell people to vote with your wallet or with your time.
Or
or
yeah,
whatever
vote
else.
with essentially it's just, hey, if you like how Ninja does things, support him. And if you don't, then don't support him. but unless he's actively harming somebody,
Absolutely.
It's pretty difficult to have a pretty strong a strong like platform of this guy is objectively bad.
In fact, the more I talk about this, and the more I'm getting big hands and getting like, but I'm not even going to say it's the streamer's responsibility to the audience. Sometimes I think it's the audience responsibility to keep the streamer accountable.
Sure.
If Ninja actually did start straight up being sexist, then it's his audience's job to say, that's not cool, deuces, I'm going to go watch this person over here.
Yeah.
I'm going to leave you, and his viewership's going to drop. I think it's an equal relationship that goes back and forth there.
Oh, it's definitely a symbiotic relationship.
I do think, yes.
And like a lot of entertainment.
Yes. I'm not going to say responsibility, but I do think that streamers should choose to live up to something more than just
you
playing
have a
video
platform,
games.
use it for good.
Yes. But also, I think that viewers should also hold their streamers accountable for stupid things. So, well, that's all I got. That's
all I got for you.
Thanks for listening, guys. Let us know what you think about the responsibilities a streamer has. Let us know what you think about the responsibility to their audience and the audience responsibility to the streamer. Let us know what you think about our thoughts. Hey, let us know.
Let us know what you think about your thoughts about our thoughts.
Let us know what you had for dinner yesterday. Really, I want to know. I've been on a really big cooking kick, and so just let me know.
I've had some of your ancho chili sauce as well as your mango habanero.
Yeah,
they're both very good.
You like the ancho, though, you said,
I like the ancho more, but I like both of them.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much, sir. I just bought new chilies. I'm doing a second batch soon.
All right, cool.
So, yeah. Anyway, thanks again for listening. We want to say a thank you to Granger. That's Granger, Granger.
Like as in Hermione.
As in Hermione, for the use of the theme song, All My Friends Have Wi-Fi, and so do some of my neighbors, off of the album Dear Sam. They got a real good sound, guys. They're a lot of fun. Journey-esque. No, not Journey-esque at all.
I just played some Quiplash with them the other day.
Did you really?
It was a good time. Yeah.
You should have asked the record.
No, it was a birthday party for a friend in Joplin.
Oh, never mind then. Nope, not that.
Do that.
But that'd have been fun though, just to be like, hey, you have the theme song to our YouTube channel. Do you guys want to play some Quiplash or something?
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, also go check out our YouTube channel. It's a thing. We're playing several games right now. Right now we have Night at the Museum.
Night at the Museum.
We're playing the Ben Stiller movie.
Now,
I'm sure there is a tie-in video game. No, Night in the Woods, which has been really fun.
Yeah,
really
man,
great.
It's good.
I'm getting of Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I would say is a little too long because I like the story a lot.
You told me that you were at level 340 or something like that.
Well, yeah, it's not the same. It's not a typical level as you would understand it, but it's beyond your understanding. No, I really love the story. It's just like I feel like it could have been condensed a little bit to be more impactful.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's been really cool. You're playing the old Blood,
the old hunters.
The old hunters.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll see that eventually.
You will see that. I am not somebody who will bounce off of a game entirely very easily.
Sure.
So I will absolutely be coming back. In fact, I was planning on playing it a little bit before Fox got here, but then remember I had Spanish homework.
You had Spanish homework. We've got lots of plans to play some great games this year. We're going to be playing the new Pokemon Snap. We're going to be playing Resident Evil Village. I'm hoping to get. I bought a Katamari Damacy reroll. I'm hoping we play that.
I have never played a Katamari Damacy.
Oh man,
before.
we should play it.
I
Anyway,
have watched playthroughs of several of them, but
and very fun.
Yeah.
Anyway, lots of stuff on there. Thousands of videos. Go check it out. There's something for you.
Thanks again for listening, guys, and always remember that save games, save lives.
Bye.
My voice sings